Oh God, you got this.
Yeah. Hey guys. Sorry about that. Oh, you sounded like a dolphin.
Oh, squeak, squeak.
Squeak, squeak. Pip, pip. Pip, pip, cheerio. Fuck. Have you clicked off yet? No, if not, congratulations. This is the Red Rum and Red Wine podcast, guys. The podcast people. Sorry. I should remember Sarah saying that guys is not okay to say anymore. Cut back to whatever episode that was. Oh God, sorry. We're giggly. But yeah, this is the podcast where we talk about murder, mystery, and mishaps, and we're clearly two of them. No,
you never said it was red rum and red wine.
Yeah, I did. You
I
bitch, yes,
so.
I did.
No, you just said it's podcast people.
No, I said this is the Red Rum and Red Wine podcast.
Okay. I swear I'm here.
I think I know what I said. I'm pretty sure. And if I didn't,
Oops.
hi, we're the Red Rum and Red Wine podcast, and I'm so fucking embarrassed. Did you miss us? Because we missed you, clearly.
I missed you so much.
Yeah, we're just so desperate to come back and hop on to... No, I don't know.
Okay, to be fair, my cheeks hurt from, like, smiling and laughing so hard, which is good because I don't do that normally.
Yeah, it just means we're that great of a time. But yeah, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Sara.
And welcome. If you couldn't tell, there are drinks involved. I am having one White Claw because my doctor recommended that I have no more on this type of medication.
That I have one less.
That I have one less that I'm drinking right now. But you know, we just got to sneak the one in just for the show. Just for the show's sake.
Well, I, on the other hand, will not be having just one.
What is that?
Anything. I, right now, am drinking a local beer, Hazy Plains IPA.
Oh.
So there is one local brewery in the town where I live, and I was at the little... Like, if I don't buy my wine and beer from Walmart or one of the grocery stores, there's this little, like, it's called the package store. So it's this, like, itty-bitty kind of liquor store, but it's mostly beer and wine. And so I usually get beer there if I don't, it's closer than anything else. So
yeah, I was about to say, it looks like an alien literally gave you a can of beer.
Well, because I guess
how you had it placed, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Small. It's literally just a silver can. Like, it's nothing fancy. It's a silver can.
It looks like the Silver
Surfer
Surfer from Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's just a white label on a silver can that
nice.
Says its name, and it has the brewery's logo and stuff. And so, like, they have the restaurant and brewery here in town. It's okay. Yeah, like...
It's all right. I give it like 3 stars.
Well, it's honestly the service. It's like the last time we went, we did have good service, and it just so happened that, like, when we walked in, this is such a tangent, I'm sorry, but when we walked in, I smell like this whiff of, like, chemical or, like, the smell of paint. I assumed it was just paint or something. And then they had, like, buckets on the floor that maybe they had a leak or something going on. I don't know. And I'm the weird person who likes and enjoys that smell of paint. You know, like,
so
I like the
sniffed
smell
markers
of
as a child.
So I didn't mind it, but I immediately brought it up to Blake, and he was just like, he can't smell anything. So he was just like, and whenever the waitress, whenever we ordered our beers, and she's like, oh, and the beers are on sale because if you couldn't notice, they're doing some construction next door and it smells really bad. And I was like,
okay, I'll take
it, dude.
Got anything for some discounted beer.
Like our food literally took an hour to get to
fuck
us.
That.
And she had another, I say excuse, but it seemed logical. It was pretty funny. So just I've never had like an awesome experience going there besides their beer being good. But even then, like the beer, like I swear, it takes forever to get to your table. So when I saw a 6-pack, and long story short, when I saw the 6-pack at the package store of their Hazy Plains IPA, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to support the locale.
It's a lovely story.
Without the shitty service. Okay.
Done and done.
Ew.
Oh, well, speaking of stories, are you ready to hear a fucked up one?
Always, girl.
Because, I just admire our friendship so much. I mean, like, I think we're best friends, right?
Yeah.
Bitch, why are you pausing?
Awkward. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, what the fuck?
Of course, Kristen.
Okay, I'm gonna go cry now. But yeah.
I would not be doing this with a non-best friend.
Oh, yeah, we only have a podcast in, like, 4 years of our lives together. I don't know.
Okay, it's more like 6, bitch.
Oh, shit. Well, hey. You can't blame me. I smoke a lot of weed.
True.
But, okay, I'm a little selfish. This is a little bit about me. What are we talking about? So, guys, I've been on a really big vampire kick. Like, the Twilight and the Vampire Diaries. I've just been digging it. Ooh. And it's not all about me, though, because, I'm a good listener. I'm a good friend. I remember you said that you liked Scottish accents.
Yes, so I just got the chills.
So I got you a Scottish story about some best friends.
Oh!
It just made me think of you right when I saw it. I was like, if this was us in high school, yep, that's us. That's us right there.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Okay, I'm in, like, vampires right now. Such a vibe. Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's
because
let's sink the teeth in.
Sink those fangs right into this case, because today I'm going to be talking. Sorry. Oh God, I'm trying not to laugh for this. Because today I will be talking about the murder of Thomas McKendrick. But I don't even know how to fucking start it.
Okay, but we can't help it sometimes.
Yeah, we can't help it. I'm sorry. But this actually starts off with like one of a family's worst nightmares in the world when their beloved son and brother Thomas McKendrick had not returned home after a day out and about on December 11th of 2002.
Oh shit.
So fairly recent, like within the millennia
within
the fucking century.
Within the past 20 years.
Yeah, that too.
Like when he was like 100.
The past century.
Oh.
So he had shared a house with his sister Sandra and his widowed mother Sandra French, and they had lived in Flawed House Church Place, which was essentially an area in a town called West Lothian, which was in Scotland, and it's a super, super small town, so if you don't know it, totally okay. It's in between Glasgow and Edinburgh, which, like, I know those towns, but I have no idea where they are. So
I've heard of those two towns, but I couldn't tell you.
I probably should have looked at a map, but like, what help would it have done? I would have forgotten. So
yeah, Kristen's really bad at directions.
Yeah, so direction. God just did not give me any kind of help there, but it's okay. He gave me GPS. So after the family went into the police station to declare him missing, it thankfully wasn't like some of the recent cases we've been talking about. The officers, aside from the last one, so the officers were pretty on top of it. So like right away they would start going door to door around the village and start asking like, hey, have you seen Thomas? Do you have any clues on what happened? Like,
good.
Is anything going on that you want to say to help us with the case?
Right.
And essentially they would get that there was a blue-eyed man around 5'11" that they should be looking for, but that was pretty much like all that they could get. And like in one really, really random article, it had like when he had first gone missing, it described that the cops had essentially thought that Thomas had been lured away by like a gay man and had basically like turned him down and then I guess had killed him out of anger, which Thomas wasn't gay, and I don't really like know where they came up with that assumption, but I guess like maybe later on the events, it kind of makes they just describe Thomas as like really trusting, so I guess like maybe it's just a theory that they were trying to run with as to like how he could be lured away or killed, because I guess they would think like, oh, a woman can't kill him, sexist, but sure.
Totally could have. Okay.
It totally could have happened. Okay, and we'll talk about a case eventually, but either way, it was just like an interesting little article that I found. I was like, okay, whatever, just interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, he was still missing at this time, but birthdays would pass, holidays would pass, like major events would go on, and Thomas would be nowhere to found anywhere. Yes.
Would be nowhere to be found. You had it right. Yeah.
Would be nowhere to be found. It just sounds wrong. I don't know. And he had been getting some kind of benefit checks. I know he was unemployed at the time that he went missing, so I don't know if it was unemployment benefits or something like that, but those checks had went uncashed. So either way, it was just the facts were not looking the brightest.
Somebody doesn't just not pick up their free money.
Exactly. So, and that was his only source of income. So there was no way that he would have probably like had money stored away or anything like that. So the family is really assuming the worst, and those fears would only be confirmed when on January 18th of 2003, so just 5 weeks after he had been reported missing, when a little over 5 weeks, when Constable Kenneth Gray would spot a forearm and hand sticking out of a drainage ditch when he was searching the wooded area in the northwest area of Floud House.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. An autopsy would later confirm that this was indeed Thomas McKendrick's body, and it would show that he had been brutally murdered.
Ugh.
It would be reported that he had been stabbed a total of 42 times around the head, neck, and body area.
Holy shit.
As well as being brutally bludgeoned a total of 10 times in his head, around his head.
Okay.
Yeah, like overkill.
Not a stranger.
Overkill. Yeah, not as like it's
passion.
It's just like the
rage.
Yeah, and you later find on that the head wound, the head trauma came first, and it's just like, why the stabbing after?
Yes.
He was clearly dead. Clearly, like, it described skull fragments, like, being away from his body.
Like apart. Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, like, detached. So he was clearly dead. It's just, like, so senseless, so disgusting.
Holy crap.
Yeah, why? Why would you do that? It was also apparent when they found his body that Thomas had been dead for weeks, and like pretty much had been dead since the time he had been missing. And cops would find that very interesting because there was a suspect that they had talked to that had actually said that they had talked to Thomas not that long ago.
Oh.
And this person was named Alan Menzie. So... Menzie. I hope I'm saying it right. Right. I just, like, give up on that at this point, so whatever. So Alan Menzie was born on April 21st of 1981 in Flawed. He would be described as like a pretty quiet and withdrawn kid. And his mom would say that he would often just like stay in his room and close his blinds and then frantically hover and dust his room all day. Like he was really, really into cleaning.
I'm so sorry. That literally sounds like when I was so like anxious the other day.
Oh, about your camper. Okay, no,
I was
but
hovering for sure. Okay.
No, but you're anxious. Like this dude just like that's just his normal behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
like,
is very odd.
Yeah, like
especially for a teen. You said like this is when he's a teenager, kind of, right? Like for a teenage boy dusting his room. Yeah,
it's
right.
just like yeah, I know. Seriously, I mean, right now Theodore will pretend with the broom, but I can't imagine in 13 years that he'll be doing that still. But
yeah, so if he's actually doing that shit, something's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't say exactly when he does this, but it pretty much describes like that's his behavior throughout his entire childhood and like young adulthood, and it that's not the worst of it. So
oh, great.
So it gets a little confusing because obviously different articles say different things, but kind of based from what I gathered in one article, it had described how Alan would go into really violent fits, and he had actually stabbed a fellow school pupil when he was 14. And he...
Like, did he kill him?
No. So he hadn't killed anyone because I do believe, and this is where I don't know if this is the same person or if it's a different boy. So either he attacked another boy or it's the same one, but either way, this 13-year-old was left with serious injuries, but he didn't die.
Holy shit.
But either way, like, he has attacked multiple people because he did attack a family member. He tried to attack him with a knife, and yeah, they only hit him with a 300-pound fine and just, like, sent him on his way.
Oh my god.
But for the attack on the 13-year-old boy that was left with severe injuries, Alan had to spend a 3-year stint in a detention center for that. So he would spend it at St. Mary's in Bishopsbriggs, Glasgow. And while he was in St. Mary's, he would actually try to hang himself using his pajamas as a ligature. So
obviously it didn't work.
Yeah, and he's just showing like major self-harm issues, and he had apparently even been showing it on from like an earlier age. So in one of the inquiries that I was reading, his mom had recalled that he overdosed around like 4 to 5 times in his childhood / young adulthood. So he would use paracetamol, which I didn't look up, but I think it's like some kind of medication, I guess.
Yeah.
And some of these would actually lead to him being hospitalized. And she would also speak about how there were like 2 to 3 additional occasions where he would threaten to overdose, like, oh, I'm going to go kill myself or whatever. And then he just like wouldn't do it.
Oh.
Yeah. So definitely sounds like someone who wouldn't have friends, but he did manage to find one, and that was Thomas McKendrick. So they actually met when they were like only 4 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. So they had been friends for a very long time. And pretty much stuck with him through it all. And
yeah,
Alan wasn't violent towards Thomas. From what I could read, it really, like, the worst it got with Thomas was that Alan would I guess, like, kind of yell at him and chuck his remote control if he lost at video games or something like that. But
oh yeah, like,
I mean, like, I guess
stupid shit.
Yeah, stupid shit, and then it's like stupit boy shit. It's just whatever.
Right,
but
stupid boy shit. That's what I meant by stupid shit.
Yeah. And then it's like, I just, being young, I could imagine, like, oh, my friend went to detention. That's so fucking cool. Whatever, like, bad boy shit. But either way, Thomas would, like, stick through his side with everything and just, like, continue to be his best friend. But yeah, obviously, like, with all of that, something was clearly a little wrong with Alan. So his mom would, I don't, like, in one of the articles I was reading, it had said that the mom had noticed that something was wrong with him and wanted to go to her local doctor to basically ask questions. But then I guess when she was given the opportunity to get Alan help in the sense of, like, hey, something's wrong with my son mentally, she didn't take that offer. And she would later say how she regretted not getting Alan help when she could, like, see the signs. Yeah, because she could tell from the beginning. And, like, so Alan's parents would separate when he was 19, and Alan would decide to move in with his father. So, I mean, like, I don't know if that's, like, says anything, but it would just go on to say, or it would just be like the mom kind of lost control over trying to help Alan at that point. But I think she said around 17 to 18, she truly started to notice, like, hey, there's something kind of seriously going on, which I know, so he does end up being seen by psychiatrists later on, and according to professionals, they would basically say that he would have, like, a vivid fantasy life, but it didn't really coincide with him having any type of mental illness. Though, I know with schizophrenia, it's like teenage or males will typically get it in their, like, younger teenage years, and it comes in, like, I'm gonna spill the facts out wrong, but it's like in years of 7 or something like that. So you have, like, a certain age that you have to worry about having, like, a mental break, pretty much. Like, oh my god,
it comes in waves.
Yeah,
kinda.
Everyone's gonna come for me because I said that totally wrong. But it's like typically in teenage years, like, for young males especially, because they're more prone to schizophrenia, I believe, like, they'll experience those kind of breaks. It's like, that's why you see a lot of, like, young adults when they go to college, they start to.
Did you mention that he was talking to himself? Because I don't think
I haven't, but yeah, so, and
okay, sorry.
The only reason I bring it up, and it's a spoiler alert, because he does show some signs. So in the articles, they describe him as an unemployed security guard, which I'm like, okay, he's unemployed. But Thomas would also be described as unemployed and also, like, being a security guard at some point. So I think that they had both gotten the job as security guards together and then quit when the other quit. Yeah, you know, like, that's, like, friend shit, you know.
Yeah.
And it was while they were unemployed that the boys would bond over watching movies together. And it was in August of 2002 that Thomas would actually bring Alan a movie called Queen of the Damned. So if you don't know the movie, it's pretty much like
I haven't seen it.
I don't think you can see it, but I'm not necessarily recommending it. I mean, I think it's.
Do you remember what year it came out? Because it must be older, obviously.
It is. I believe early. It has to be, like, probably 2000. So, fun fact, not so fun fact about the movie, the actress who played Akasha, who was, like, the vampire queen of the movie, actually died in a plane crash in 2001 at the age of 22.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was before 2001, or at least, like, before her death in 2001.
Okay, shit.
Yeah. So.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it like added a really big like hit of mystery, and then when this case broke out, it just added more crap to the movie, of course, and whatever. But it's basically a movie about how this vampire rock and roll band, like this one guy, yeah, he sings.
Okay, I'm gonna go watch it like tonight.
He sings a song.
Vampire rock and roll. Sold.
The outfits. I die. He's wearing.
My nipples got. Like, is it like leather?
It's like the sheer mesh top, like the main character. Oh my god. I was looking at, I saw the movie when I was super young, and I was trying to like remember what it was about, so I was watching a few clips on YouTube, and I was like, it all came flooding back, and I was like, yes, oh my god. And there's like a huge love conflict. I'm like, oh, I remember all the emotions. But it's like he basically like sings a song and awakens the queen vampire Akasha, who was played by I'm so sorry if I did not say her name, because I didn't fucking write it down. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Her name is Aaliyah, and she was a singer, R&B singer as well. Like, she was nominated.
Wait, holy shit!
Yeah.
You're talking about Aaliyah?
Yeah. Am I saying her name right?
Yes.
Okay.
Aaliyah.
Yeah. And she doesn't have a
Yes.
last name. Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You know her?
Okay, I'm sorry when I heard this story the first time.
It's okay. Sorry,
Kristen,
guys. We're recording this
I'm
a second
sorry,
time
but
because we're mishaps.
Do you realize who Aaliyah was?
No. Well, I really liked her in the movie.
God. They're gonna come for you.
I am. I'm not a big R&B
shit.
fan.
Oh my god.
I was a metalhead in the early 2000s.
Holy shit.
Yeah, she starred in this.
Okay, the fact that your story
Sarah's just
so the fucking main character from this movie that Alan was that he was imagining was Aaliyah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I am losing it right now because like, I was just imagining this random fucking bitch being a vampire, and then you mentioned that it was Aaliyah.
Yeah, you look up, and she looks good. I'll send you a photo.
Oh, I know, girl. I've seen all her photos.
Yeah.
Probably all of them.
My phone's dead, but go...
I haven't seen...
My phone's dead, but go look up
movie. I haven't seen that movie, but fuck, girl, I've seen all her photos.
Yeah. The outfit's insane, but she's the one that plays the main character, and like as soon as Alan, sorry, spoiler alert for those who didn't hear Sarah.
Sorry.
It's okay, but he like sees it and becomes obsessed with her, and I
would have to. God damn it.
She's fucking banging in that movie. I just made myself
and
sound
now it
so
all
old.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So he would even say that so it started off with he would think about the movie nonstop, and I mean, like, when I say he was obsessed, like, this kid watched it over 100 times, and so he got the movie in August, and the crime happened in December.
Oh.
So within that amount of time, he watched it over 100 times. It had gotten so bad to the point, because this is early 2000s, it's on VHS. And if you don't know what a VHS is, go the fuck to bed. You shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Night.
And that the VHS had gotten worn off, and he had to go buy a new one.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. So he like, he loved it. Couldn't stop watching it. So it started off with him hearing her voice, and then it would progress to him like full on seeing her, and like her appearing at the edge of his bed at night, and then like conversating, pretty much.
Who wouldn't want to see Aaliyah
Right?
at the
I'm
end
like,
of their bed at
if
night?
you couldn't have told me that I couldn't have made that happen with Joe Jonas, like, I would have been all up on that shit. Come on. And so it's just like, so his dad would kind of like give evidence to support this. So he would say that he would hear his son alone in his room talking or shouting as if like someone was there, but of course no one else would be there. And he also said that after watching this movie, his son's thoughts were thoroughly consumed by all things vampires, games, and blood, which he said didn't make for normal conversation. So I couldn't imagine.
It's like, hey son, bye son.
Hey son, blood,
Nothing
bye.
else to talk about.
Okay, bye.
Hi. Bye.
Like, I know, like, when I was in fucking high school, did you ever used to do the safety pin, that you would, like, stick it through your skin, like, right underneath, like, right before you drew blood? But you could, like, get it on your hand right under your callus, and then you could, like, wear the safety pin. No, that was just me. Okay, never mind. We're just moving along.
I know you were a cheerleader, so you probably had safety pins like lying around.
Well,
yeah,
this was
didn't just have them.
This was more middle school me when I was emo, but
no, yeah.
Yeah, I straightened myself up, even though everyone on the team hated me. It's okay. But so basically, when he started seeing Akasha, she would start to ask him like, "Hey, you need to kill people for me. And if you kill these people for me, I will do you a favor and I will give you the gift of immortality."
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so we see where this is going. And so if this didn't make him the creepiest kid in school that no one would want to talk to, well, he wasn't in school at this point, but when he did decide to go out, he would insist that people would call him Vamp. Which I'm like, okay, bye.
Hey, Ellen. No! It's Vamp!
It's Vamp. This, like, he changes his name a fucking again. I'm like, what is your fucking pick one? Pick one.
Sorry, I just, like, barked.
It's okay. Makes for good audio.
I just saw the audio spike, and I was like...
So, like, obviously the family noticed this kind of, like, aggressive...
behavioral shift.
Yeah, this aggressive, rapid shift in behavior, but they were just kind of like, that's just Alan being Alan. I feel like this is the fucking first episode again. I'm just like,
Lovely.
yeah, it's just them being them. Like, you don't need to worry about it.
Sorry.
Sara just loves to stick her foot in a peanut butter jar. That's just what she does.
What the fuck does that mean? I can just feel the peanut butter in my toes. Ew.
But I mean, like, it's
what
just...
does that mean?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of something random.
I didn't know if that was an actual saying or not. It makes me feel icky.
No, I'll cut it out.
No, it's fine. It's just like I'm like my toes. I feel like.
But yeah,
I don't know if that would feel good or bad.
Good if you could get a dog to lick you off. Just get Bush to go right up. Hey, Bush,
He would go to town. I will tell you that. And I don't know if I'd enjoy it, to be honest.
Oh my god, no. That would fucking be so disturbing.
My body just kind of shut down and glitched for a second, but I'm back.
We're here.
Laugh factor up.
But yeah, so it's just like, yeah, you see the peanut butter jar that's empty and you're just like, oh, it's just c'est la vie. That's just life. And this kind of attitude, and I'm not blaming or whatever, it's just whatever, joke, but this kind of like mentality would kind of further shift continue when in December of 2002 Alan's father would return home and find some suspicious blood stains throughout the house.
Oh.
And when he asked Alan, hey, like, what's up with these stains? Like, what are they from? Alan would just go, oh, don't worry about it, Dad. Like, I just cut my thumb opening a can of dog food. And the dad was like, okay, yeah, like, that's cool, no problem. And he just kind of ignored the fact that neither one of his thumbs had a fucking cut on them.
Oh. And like all throughout the house, like a little slice on your thumb would get blood all throughout the house in the first place.
Ugh.
Ugh.
I mean, like, maybe, but I didn't see photos, but I'm like, probably after hearing his wounds, yeah, no, not that amount of blood. Ugh. Thankfully, the police, though, had, like, they weren't buying it. So they had actually searched Alan's home, like, a week prior to discovering Thomas's body.
Oh.
So it was part of just the general investigation, and also I believe that that Alan had been named one of the last people that Thomas had seen.
Oh, right. So that makes them automatic, like...
Yeah, and he also happened to have, like, the blonde hair and blue-eyed.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, thing going.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure if his eyes were blue, but they definitely look like they could be
seemingly
dark blue.
Colored,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it's just, like, ticking all the marks, and...
Yeah.
When like, Alan wasn't helping himself look inconspicuous, because Thomas's mom would say that she would be out running some kind of errand when Thomas was missing right before his body had been found, and that she would actually run into Alan at wherever she was, and that instead of Alan just being sympathetic or like asking how she's doing or if like worrying about Thomas, he was basically just kind of asking like, oh, what kind of information do they have? Like, what are the cops thinking
like,
happened?
Have they found anything?
Yeah. Do I need to be worried? What's going on? And like even the mom would say she kind of like got a weird feeling from like the types of questions that he was asking. So it was just like all sus.
Super sus.
Yeah.
Dude.
And so a part of the investigation was, actually going through Alan's home. And so when they went through his home, they would find home videos. They would obviously find his beloved Queen of the Damned video. And they would also...
Beloved.
I like, fucking love that movie, man. They would find one of the Vampire Chronicle books, and they would also find Blood and Gold by Anne Rice, which is the author that the movie is based off of. Like she
writes a bunch of the
vampire
that
shit.
type of stuff, right? Yeah.
And in the books, they would also find various passages that had been handwritten, and a lot of them had been misspelled. Like, one of the articles fucking burned him so hard and was like, you could obviously...
Like, he was taking notes, kind of, in the book?
Yeah, or, like, making his own little, like, side commentary on it. But, like, articles were like, you could obviously tell that this was written by someone who was uneducated and yada yada. I was like, oh, okay. But they would read pages of these books out to the court, and one of the passages that I was able to find was that the blood is the life. I have drunk the blood, and it shall be mine, for I have seen horror.
Ew, okay. Drinking blood, ew.
Okay, so fucking guilty. Like, what the... As soon as investigators read this, and it would, like, go on and on and on. So as soon as they're reading this, they're like, look up, and they're like, oh, okay, so I think we have him here.
Yeah.
But it... basically wasn't enough. Like, you can't arrest someone for writing shit in a journal. Right, unfortunately. Even no matter like how convincing it is, you know, it's just like,
we are in Scotland, so
yeah, but still, it's like you shouldn't arrest someone for just writing, I guess. You need a little bit.
They need more.
You need more. So they couldn't do anything, but pretty much like Alan had moved to number 1, top of the list.
Hell yeah.
But after the body was found, they were like, okay, well, ring-a-dang-dang, we got everything we need.
Ring-a-ding-a-ding.
Yeah, we can get him in. And so on January 20th of 2003, investigators decide, all right, let's round him up. Let's go pick him up. And as soon as they pick him up, in the car on the way to the station, Alan basically spills the beans and admits to everything that happened that day.
Okay, of course.
According to Alan, on the day of the attack, the pair were standing in his kitchen when Thomas had apparently called Akasha a black bitch. and had regarded her in a lot of sexual ways and asked if he even really believed if vampires existed, which...
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm sorry I even said that. I feel gross. But it was then when Akasha had seemingly appeared in front of Alan, and though she wouldn't say anything, she would turn her back to him, and it was in that moment in Alan's mind where he would come to the realization that like she was upset with what just happened, and he essentially needed to kill Thomas.
Yeah, it was like, go for it.
Yeah. Like revenge
in his mind. Yeah. Ugh.
So it was then that he would grab a hammer that was in the surrounding area, turn around, and strike his best friend of over 10 years 10 times in the head.
Go best friend. That's my best friend.
Not a best friend of mine after that. Mm-mm.
Oh no.
It was then that Alan would grab a knife and stab him a total of 42 times before lowering himself with a whiskey glass so that he could fill it with Thomas's blood and drink it. He supposedly had 2 glasses of his friend's blood.
He wanted to drink the blood.
He fucking went back and got... Ugh. You are not Damon Salvatore. Stop. Like, no.
Ew.
I can't.
I just like my mouth right now. It kind of is like salivating, and it tastes like it doesn't taste like nickels. Like I don't taste blood right now, but I can
just
imagine
it. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. He would even go as far as consuming part of his brain or skull. So, like, some articles said skull. A lot of articles said skull. But I can't imagine a skull being good for your fucking diet.
A piece of skull.
Yeah, like, that's bone.
I don't think that would make it through your esophagus.
Your tummy
well,
acid.
To be honest.
Your tummy. Your poor tummy.
Maybe he was like sucking on it.
Stop making that noise. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just like I can't imagine someone eating a skull, so I'm just gonna say brain, because if you eat a skull, that automatically just makes you a psychopath in my book, which apparently he was.
Yeah, to be fair.
I'm just like, skull? Why? A lot. Like, more articles said skull than brain.
Maybe it's just the way they report.
Can your stomach fucking dissolve?
It's skull is bone.
Exactly. Can your stomach dissolve bone? Are you going to poop that out? That's a...
Not when it's whole, I don't think.
A small chunk.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's only a danger if it's sharp, because that's when it can cut up your shit going down.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like,
but
apparently...
I can't imagine it not being sharp after beating the shit out of him.
It was like a fragment that had been dislodged during the attack.
Maybe he like soaked it and made some tea from it.
Ew. No. Don't think that's what happened. The entire time that it was going on, though, he would say that he could see Akasha looking on and basically encouraging his actions.
Yeah, right, asshole.
It was from there that Alan would just chillax. You know, he'd watch some TV. He would feed the family ferrets and listen to some music.
Ew.
I really want to know what he listened to.
I know, right? Like some kind of like Evanescence, probably.
Right. Oh, shut up. I listened to that.
I know, they're awesome. Like, no hate.
They're great. I love them. So I guess like when he was done doing that, like done chilling, it's like, what the fuck? He would take his now ex-best friend, because I would assume that Thomas would want nothing to do with this fucking kid, so I'm just separating the friendship for them.
On that one.
Yeah, I think he went a tad too far right there. So he would take his ex-best friend, put him in a little wheelie bin, and then take him to a wooded area and bury him in a shallow grave, where it would take a little over 5 weeks for him to be found. Like, You couldn't even fucking, like, if I were to have murdered you, I would be a little bit more respectful, at least when I buried you. I'd give you something a little bit nicer.
The line was crossed. No respect to be seen for miles and miles. Did you see that meme? I think I saw it on, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, I don't know. And it was like, why is every murderer such an idiot to bury their victim in the backyard? And somebody replied, like, not everybody has the privilege of owning a car and being able to put a body in it and then having the gas money to drive it into a remote area to bury it and then drive home. Okay, so take your privilege somewhere else.
We're poor serial killers here, okay? Now you lay on this air mattress while I blow your back out.
So he took his wheelbarrow down the village, through the village. God damn it.
So, mind you, like, he's in a car with these two cops while this is all happening. And, like, while he's saying this story, the cops are like, no, wait, like, please stop. Like, wait. Just wait until we get to the station. Like, you have the right to remain silent. Just hold on. Just, that's enough slices. It's another TikTok reference, sorry. But he's like, yeah, that's fucking enough. And Alan would just, like, keep on going. And he'd be like, yeah, no, I did all of this because Akasha said that she would make me immortal and that I would be a vampire. And so DC Lowe, who was driving, and DC Marr, who is sitting in the back with him.
So there were 3 cops in the vehicle?
No, it was just 2. I don't know why Marr would not sit in the front. Like, and after hearing that story, I'm like, okay, can you pull over so I can sit in the front? Because I don't want to sit with this kid anymore. But they basically said, like, when he got into the car, Alan would go, how do you think things will go today? I'm going to get 20 to 25 years for this, for doing him with a hammer and my Bowie knife. But I got his soul. I'd be like, okay, partner, please pull the fuck over. Like,
I'm going to sit up there with you now.
Nope. Nope. He would go on to describe, I drank a bit of his blood and I ate a bit of his head. There was blood everywhere, and I buried him up in the woods with the weapons away from the body. He would even go into detail about how he had stabbed Thomas in the rear of his neck 4 times, even taking a kitchen knife and pushing it through his throat and into his brain.
What the fuck?
I'm just like... Sorry, trigger warning, going at you way too late for that one. I gotta get better at those one day. As soon as they get to the station, I guess, like, Thomas plays with the story for a little bit, but then after some time he's like, actually, no, none of that happened, and I don't know what happened to Thomas. But it's like, you already just admitted to everything. You gave us the full...
Right. The rundown.
Yeah. Like, play-by-play. No.
What the fuck?
The Crown would say that Mr. Alan Menzie had murdered Mr. Thomas McKendrick at Alan's home in Lanrig Avenue farmhouse. Alan would go on to deny both charges, but would offer a plea deal of guilty to culpable homicide for reasons of diminished responsibility, which thankfully was rejected later by the Crown.
Okay. I was about to say, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so it was basically like they were trying to give Alan a deal, but then he didn't want to take the deal. But then after he got charged, he was like, no, wait, I'll take the deal, or I'll, like, give you what you want if you let me go to, like, a state hospital, which they were like, no, fuck that. Like, fuck you. We're not doing that anymore. So basically after that, they were just like, no, fuck it. We're going the full way. So Alan, who changed his name yet again, so he wanted to be called Leon, like the assassin from the film Queen of the Damned. And he would describe to the court how he truly believed that he was in fact a vampire and how he had officially achieved immortality.
Oh.
He would even go on to describe how him and Akasha were upset to find out that there weren't any other vampires in Carstairs, which was the state hospital that he was spending time at while he was in trial.
Yeah.
And he would go on to tell the court that if given the option, he would kill again.
Ugh.
That this is what we vampires do. And
okay.
Yeah, that basically, like, in order to get his blood, he had to kill them. I'm like, there was no in between for him. He was like, we need to murder in order to feed, is how he described it.
We know there's an actual real life vampirism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
community, and it has nothing to do with murdering people. Okay?
No, it's all consensual, and it's not anything like this. And yeah, I definitely ran into research on that community a little bit, but yeah, this is totally, if you practice vampirism, if you're interested in it, like, all for it. This is not what we're talking about. This dude is just fucking taking vampirism and giving it a really fucking bad name. So he, when asked if he could turn back the clock and essentially like take everything back, he said no, that he felt no regret essentially, and that he really only felt bad for the mom and sister that they, I guess, like, had to deal with this.
Okay.
Which I'm like,
I guess.
Then why fucking do it? Ugh.
What the fuck?
He also added that Akasha had told him that this whole trial was basically a farce and that the judge and the jury were working for the prosecution.
Okay.
And this is where it gets tricky. So he tells people, like, this is happening because I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, and like, this is why I attacked my best friend. So this is where the theory of him basically like exaggerating stories, or him exaggerating experiences that he had in order to get like a mental illness plea,
yeah.
But when I hear accounts from the parents, it makes it seem like it wasn't exaggerated in a sense. Like, I really do think that he hallucinated in some sense.
His behavior showed,
And they do, like, the doctors and the professionals will call it just a vivid fantasy, and that basically he wasn't mentally ill. So I know
so he was never diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. He was just saying that.
So yeah, 3 psychiatrists had examined him after he had been arrested and determined, like, yeah, there was no way that Alan was schizophrenic. He was just suffering from antisocial personality disorder. So he just, like, he was basically saying, like, there's no way that you're mentally ill. You're just have a vivid, like, imagination is basically what they were saying.
Some people suffer from antisocial disorders so bad to where it is a mental illness, because what was the case that I did? The cherub-faced killer. Mm-hmm. He suffered from the antisocial disorders to where it was so bad where it was like not it was not treatable or fixable, and that can really like be a mental illness to a sense.
Yeah. And I don't know, from what it's
not classified, but
yeah, so maybe. there was one psychiatric consultant that would support the claim that yes, he was a paranoid schizophrenic. And when I look at it, I really do think, with the parents' accounts and with the hallucinations, I really do believe that, yeah, he was probably a paranoid schizophrenic. And I think this is early 2000s. It's a lot easier for mental illness to kind of be pushed to the side in terms of, like, whatever. It's not to I'm not trying to diminish the responsibility that he should have for the murder that he committed, because just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean that you should be allowed to murder someone. But I just think,
as far as mental illness in the judicial system,
I think this one slipped through the cracks a bit.
It definitely fell through the cracks.
Yeah. With this, on October 8th of 2003, the jury, after only 90 minutes of deliberation, would, like very, very short, in and out, had some coffee, had a donut, and we're like, okay, walked out.
Okay.
And
Use
we're
the
like,
bathroom real quick. Yeah.
Here's what we know. So they would unanimously declare him guilty of murder and would hand him a life sentence with at least a minimum of 18 years in prison before parole.
I feel like that's not a lot.
It's not a lot. I hate that. Like, what's the point of a life sentence if you give with
and it's like with a minimum of 18 years, but then they end up getting released
on
like
good behavior.
Not even half of that, you know?
I'm like, fuck. If they get a life sentence, it should be fucking that, a fucking life sentence.
Like, till death.
Unless you have, it's a fucking marriage. And until you have some fucking proper evidence, like, unless the fucking system's having an affair and they cheated you dirty and you have the proof, then, like, you get out of that sentence. It's just, no point.
Yeah. My mind might be changed depending on the case, but for this one.
Well, it would be when they would have sufficient evidence.
He literally admitted he would do it again, so he literally should not ever be let out. So if he gets a life sentence, he should be in there for his entire life.
Yeah.
Depending on other cases,
we'll see. We'll get to that one another day.
My opinions are flexible, people. Okay.
So the judge, Roderick MacDonald, would tell Alan that he was an evil, violent, and highly dangerous man, and he was not fit to be at liberty, which, hallelujah, agree.
Hallelujah. Praise
the non-existent Lord. So
praise whoever is above.
Mm-hmm. So on his way to Taunton Prison, Alan would turn to the people driving him and go, hey, I'll plead guilty, don't worry about it, like, I'll change my thing to guilty if I can go back to Carstairs, which was the state hospital that he was staying at. And they were like, yeah, no, fuck you.
He really didn't want to go to prison.
really didn't want to go there. After his client Alan was released from jail, solicitor Amar Anwar would say that the case had highlighted the social stigma that was surrounding mental health. So he said that the continued taboo and the lack of understanding or support of schizophrenia and mental health in our community can only mean that the tragedies like this case are more likely to happen and not less. Which I kind of agree with, because obviously Alan had a lot of signs where someone could have interjected and given him resources where you could at least, like, lock him in a state hospital.
It's too late to blame it on that. Honestly,
that kind of stuff.
Opinion, he, like, him and his team or whatever, his defense, they shouldn't have relied on that, honestly, because there were chances for him to get help. And even, like, just his whole situation aside, early intervention is the most important in these kind of people with these like mental health and disorders and traumas, and so the earlier the intervention the better, and the fact that he didn't get any obviously plays a huge effect. So to play that whole thing, that whole card, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't, if you are mentally ill, like, use that as a defense, but for him to be like, for his parents to be like, no,
yeah, and especially for them to see the signs of, hey, he potentially has a really big problem, and they just completely ignored it.
It's like they saw it and they were afraid to get help almost.
It's because there's such a stigma of, like, that you can't have a mental illness because you're defective or you're not normal, or
when there's, like, literally so much worse could be wrong.
Yeah, and it's just like when everyone is going through something everyone has, like, you would be surprised at the amount of people in society that have some type of mental illness that they are dealing with. It's not just you. It's not just, like, you battling this fight. And it's just so silly that we put so much pressure on this mental illness game that, like, if you have one, that means that something's wrong with you. No, it just means that you're fucking living life, and there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness or anything. Like,
it just means that something happened and you're living with it.
Yeah, it just means that life dealt you this hand and fucking you could handle it. They couldn't, so fuck off. You're living with it however you live with it. But it's just, yeah, there were definitely society failed Alan and ultimately failed Thomas, because these safeguards should have been set in place so that Alan wouldn't get to a point where he would harm people in society.
He would literally kill his best friend. Since he was 4. I'm sorry, but 4 years old.
And I can assure you that Thomas would have never seen it coming, ever. Like, why would he knew that his friend was prone to violent acts, and he still trusted his,
but never towards him, right?
Yeah, he always trusted his best friend, gave him the complete sense to, like, go over there in a kitchen where there are fucking dangerous utensils and hang out with him and not think that he was in harm's way. Like, Thomas had complete and total trust in him, and it's so upsetting how Thomas was just utterly let down and the ultimate victim in this. It's just so upsetting.
Completely.
And it's, like, I get into it a little bit later, but it's just, like, how little I could find regarding Thomas is so upsetting. Like, we obviously are just so focused on Alan and whatnot. Like, I could find so many things in regard to Alan's early life, but, like, Thomas is rarely talked about in this case. And it's really, truly sad, because his parents, or his mom and his sister, like, his family is truly going through some shit. Like, they were going through intense emotions, and then for their son or their brother to be so lightly brushed over, like, fuck you, media. So outside of court, Thomas's mother would say that she was pleased with the outcome of Alan's sentencing, and Thomas's sister, Sandra Mary, would go on to say that Alan had got what she deserved, and she believed that he was not mentally ill, which she's totally can have her opinion. I'm not. Don't go for her.
And the family knew him too, so you can't completely, like, discount what they say, because you know, we read the facts and what we hear, and we have our own opinions, and
we've already read articles where the media is totally wrong, so and how they twist certain things. So
but they were friends since they were 4 years old.
Yeah.
So their families were friends. They knew each other's child as if they were their own.
Yeah.
So for their personal opinions, like, you have to take that into account.
You just have to respect it. Like, you have to respect if someone has a different opinion than you, fine. That's nothing wrong with that. Like, the world is still going round, like, and she has such a close personal tie that I will never ever be able to obtain. So, like, yeah, her opinion is way higher than mine ever will be. But she basically said it was just Alan committing this, like, horrendous act, and it was just him.
He was just prone.
Yeah, it was just him fucking doing it just cause.
Yeah. Oh.
After the trial, when he was taken into the jail and not the state hospital that he was wanting so bad, the officers would describe that he was kind of, like, in a sense of shock. And it also kind of had to do with the fact that he, I think, really assumed that he was only getting 20 to 25. So when he heard life, he was like, oh shit, like, I really didn't get it.
Sorry.
Like,
people do these things and they expect.
They're like, why?
The first problem is that you have expectations about how you're going to get away or get off.
I'm like,
and that's the first mistake, because
you murdered someone. You're lucky you're even here. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's just so, yeah.
Yeah. You can call the shots.
No problem. I'm sorry. This is the jail sentence I was expecting.
Like, excuse me, Judge, are you sure it's not supposed to be 20 to 25?
Excuse me, Judge, the Wikipedia told me that this was going to be 20 to 25, okay? We need a...
That's what I was expecting here, sir, so if we could really, like, come to an agreement, that'd be great.
It's just peachy. Because of all of this, and, like, because of his previous history of, like, him... Like, his, history with self-harm and whatnot, he was put on suicide watch as soon as he was brought to the jail. Though and this was like October 3rd, I believe I said. October 8th. So October 8th was when he got sentenced. And by October 30th, they had taken him off of suicide watch and put him basically back with the general population. So this would last until November 15th of 2004, when at approximately 8:05 a.m., while his appeal was actually still currently pending for the murder of Thomas, the lifeless body of Alan Menzie, who was 23 at the time, would be found dead in his prison cell.
Tell me more.
So an inquiry was made into his death, and they determined that he had died sometime between 5 p.m. on Sunday, November 14th and 8 a.m. on November 15th, which is a pretty big time gap.
Yeah, okay. And how was he found dead? Like, what happened?
So they would find... So he had hung himself with a bedsheet from a metal, like, bar that was located outside of the window of his cell. Like a metal frame.
Shit.
Yeah. And he had obviously, like, attempted suicide in a similar manner in a place like this before. When he was at St. Mary's with the pajamas. So
yeah,
he's just kind of, I guess, like, had experience, I hate to say.
Right.
But
oh, that is kind of weird. Like, I don't, like, since he has the behavior and the history of suicidal tendencies, I, like, believe that he would hang himself. But also, like, that time frame of which 5 p.m. to 8 a.m.
It doesn't help that we also just had a case about detention centers in the fucking
so,
UK area.
Think the guards, and again, we're in Scotland, I don't know, okay? But how often do the guards go on their little roundabouts? Like, you'd think it'd be...
Not 5... It would be later than long. 5 p.m. Yeah, and I know,
like... every few hours at the most. I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently there were, obviously, like, photos of how he was hung, which I didn't dig that deep to try and find. I don't think that you can find it. It's kind of like an official document.
I was going to say, send me links, girl.
No, I don't think you can find it. From what I read, like, people were really disturbed when they did see the photos. So I don't think that he was hanging in a place where, like, if you were to peek in the cell, it would just be like, oh, he's just taking a nap, or like, he's just chilling.
Gotcha.
Like, you would look in and probably clearly see that, oh, he had hung himself or he had committed suicide.
Yeah.
So they would obviously question his mom and his family following his death, and his mom had actually said that she had last seen her son on November 5th and described him as being quite cheery and perky, and that she really had, like, no indication that he was suicidal at all. Though she did mention that she saw marks on his arms, like, I guess, self-harm marks. But when she would ask him about it, he got really defensive and violent and was just kind of like, F off, and didn't really say anything else.
Fuck.
So after the death, in no way is connected, but I thought was really interesting. So Alan's first cousin would actually be accused in 2012 of tying a little boy up into a bag, suspending him from the ceiling, and beating the boy. But apparently the two boys that had told the story to the cops had major discrepancies in them, and the charges were eventually dropped. And there were apparently witnesses that had said, like, the boys' mothers that had made the claims against Alan's first cousin, which I'm not going to say his name because obviously he wasn't charged and whatnot. But the mom had been witness saying, like, oh, she wanted to ruin the family's lives. And I guess it was said that, like,
or whatever,
and probably thought with Alan's, like, history, it may be easy to think, like, oh, this family is prone to violence or whatever.
Oh.
In no way is connected, but I thought was super, super interesting. I saw that article and I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, like,
but,
side note, definitely important to note.
So, like, the family is still, like, having to deal with shit, like, pretty fucking recently within their lives.
Holy
which
shit.
kind of sucks because they've already clearly had dealt with a lot. And I always want to try to end the note of the case talking about the victim, but like I had previously mentioned, like, they really, really did Thomas McKendrick dirty and did not really give me any information. I even tried to find, like, an obituary where they would say something, and I'm not that great of a Google expert, so I didn't try. I guess I don't know how to look that hard, but from what I could try to find, Thomas was described as a really kind young man and a keen ferret hunter, and he loved spending time in the woods with his pets hunting, and was described as, like, a super, super trusting dude. Like, could just get anyone around him to smile, laugh. So yeah, it seemed like a really genuine, good dude. You look at his photo and it's just really sad. Like, yeah, just a life taken way too soon, and from someone who he trusted with his life, and unfortunately it was just the wrong person to trust. But yeah, that is the case of the unfortunate and senseless murder of Thomas McKendrick.
Damn. We're still best friends, right?
I mean, I'm not going to do that to you. I promise. I like Vampire Diaries, but not that bad, okay? This is only my second time rewatching it. And I'm probably not going to rewatch it again. Twilight, I don't know.
Yeah. Can't make claims on that one.
But those guys sparkle. They're not as bad.
Yeah, thank you for that. Jeez, for taking my Scottish interests in consideration, as well as the story in itself, man. Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's what besties are for.
Well, shit.
Oh, God.
Spill. Oh, no. Don't spill it.
It's okay.
You have to cheers for one last sip.
Well, cheers to us being best friends in the sense that I will never have to worry about you killing me.
Yeah. Cheers to Aaliyah, bitches. Rest in peace. Wait. Let me say that. Cheers to Aaliyah. Rest in peace. Holy crap. Because I did not expect, like, that little...
Yeah, send me some songs.
Element. Yeah, well, it's not only her music, but her life in a whole is an incredible story.
Oh, okay, well, we'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, be sure to follow us on all the socials, the Tweeter Bird, the Insta camera, the TikToker, and the YouTube TV.
At RARW Podcast. Meow.
Meow. And don't call me old because I already know it.
Oh.
Okay, bye.